please.
Hello, and welcome back to Stone Soup, the world according to sci-fi geeks. You may notice that some things are different. This is not our kitchen, and this is not my mother. Please welcome our first guest, Kristine Bohnhoff.
Hello.
This is actually her kitchen, not that that matters. Today we will be reviewing Twilight. Now, I've only read the first book, but she's read the first two and smidgen, and I've seen the first movie, so we know enough to give an educated response. And our general response is, ew. But I personally found the writing to be extremely flat.
It was very interesting because in writing there's a term called a purple patch, which generally is meant to be in a well-written book. There is a segment which is perhaps overblown, melodramatic.
Overflourished.
I was amazed to find that the entire book was a purple patch, and that the other patches were the patches of not melodramatic writing.
And there's just no depth. You know, it's all flourish, no substance.
It's all very, very, very flowery language.
Yes. And you know, the first book's like something like 400 pages. It takes 300 for there to be an actual plot point. That's never a good sign.
No.
And Miss Meyer must hate the question why, because she avoids answering it like the plague. You know,
She does.
You know, I'm reading through it, it's like, but why? But why? But why? And no answers.
None at all. For example, why would someone who is supposed to be an intelligent young woman fall in love with someone who sleeps in the tree outside of her house?
Yeah.
Who tells her that he is a vampire, who she is fairly certain is a vampire. Why would any self-respecting young woman ever fall in love with someone like that?
Someone who freely admits that he's following her around. That's called stalking. It is not romantic. It is not sweet or protective. It is creepy and dangerous.
Especially when he then continues to tell you that your blood is his cocaine.
Yeah, that's a bad thing, okay?
Yes, this is not good. This is not a compliment on your perfume.
No. And the thing is, why does he love her, other than the fact that she smells like the world's greatest double bacon cheeseburger, fries, and chocolate shake?
You know, he never gives a reason.
That's just weird.
Just a little.
Again, bad sign. And that's the other thing. It's supposed to be this big romantic thing, but if you look at it, the relationship is abusive, literally. You know, I found a list of signs of an abusive relationship. Number 1, pushes for quick involvement. Comes on strong, claiming, I've never felt loved like this by anyone. An abuser pressures the new partner for an exclusive commitment almost immediately. They have like 2 dates, and he tells her that you're my life now.
Yes.
I call that rushing.
That is a little bit.
Jealous. Well, he doesn't like anyone else being around her.
Let's take Jacob for an example.
Yes. Or the dozen other boys at school who, for no unknown reason, have crushes on Bella.
Yes.
That's the other weird thing. Everybody likes her, but no
Why?
reason is given because she has no personality.
She is a cardboard cutout.
She really is. Let's see. Controlling. Well, let's see. Whenever she does something he doesn't like, he bullies her into doing what he thinks she should be doing. But he always knows what's best for her, so that makes it okay? No. That isn't. Even if, technically speaking, he is right, no. Let's see. Unrealistic expectations. You could say that. I mean, the whole you are my life now. Isolation. Well, Bella isolates herself because she doesn't care about anyone except for herself and Edward. He's so perfect.
Yeah. No, in fact, their entire relationship seems to be based on the fact that Edward is perfect. I think the word is used like 50 times.
Give or take. Every time she talks about Edward, pretty much 99.99% of the time, the words are, you know, because he's beautiful, he's perfect. Partway through the first book, she finally finds a new word, godlike. Such an improvement.
Oh, yes.
So basically, it's based on he's pretty and she smells good. Yep, that's a solid foundation for a relationship.
That is the basis of many, many successful relationships.
Totally. Let's see. Hypersensitivity, you could say that.
Oh, yes.
Verbal abuse. Well, he screams in her face at one point because, you know, she wants to drive after she almost fainted in class. Again, no, she should not be driving after she almost fainted. That does not make it okay for him to scream in her face and then physically pull her to his car. Let's see. Sudden mood swings. He mood swings from one sentence to the next. I'm always being all friendly, saying we should go hang out, and then literally the very next words out of his mouth are, "You should stay away from me."
That's not mood swings. That's bordering on schizophrenia.
Or bipolar or something,
Yes.
yeah. Past battery, no. Threats of violence. Well, not against her, but against people around her, he's been known to threaten violence.
Oh, yes.
So out of 15, Edward and Bella applied to about half. Abusive.
Yes.
Even Robert Pattinson, who does Edward in the movies, says he's creepy.
Yes. In an interview, Robert Pattinson did in fact say that he thought Edward was a creepy weirdo. Mm-hmm. If the heartthrob who is portraying Edward Cullen thinks Edward Cullen is a creeper, he probably knows what he's talking about.
When even the guy doing him thinks that this is wrong, that's saying something. I mean, the movie took out a lot of the abusiveness, but some of it is still there. I mean, and I quote in the book, when they're going to the prom and she doesn't want to get out of the car, in the book, she comments that because there are other people around, he couldn't just pull her out of the car like he would if they were alone. Which says, one, that's abusive, and two, he knows he can't do that in front of other people because they will see it's abusive. Frankly, it makes you wonder about Stephanie Meyer's relationships.
You do.
It's just, I mean, if that's what she thinks is romantic, there's something bad going on in her home life that he's looking at.
That's true.
But, I in general like vampires. I loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I don't mind vampires as a general plotline, but it's just
absurd.
And that's putting it nicely.
They're not even, I mean, they're not really even vampires. They're like boys who sparkle.
Yeah. First, I wonder if that came from anime, because I don't know how much anime you've seen, but it's a very common trope that, when the handsome guy is cranking the charm up to 11, or the first time a young lady sees a particularly handsome guy, he will sparkle.
Glistening.
Yes, he'll shimmer in the sun. But it's not actually supposed to be physically sparkling, not literally. It's just a way of showing that, the charm has got up, or that they're extremely handsome. I mean, Miss Myers claims that it came to her in a dream, but quite possibly she got that dream after watching some anime. I mean, Edward carrying Bella on his back, that's ripped directly from an anime and manga called Inuyasha, about a boy who's half human, half demon, and he carries his girlfriend on his back when he needs to. So, makes one wonder.
It does.
I mean, largely it's creatively bankrupt, I'd say.
There's nothing particularly unique about the Twilight series.
No.
I mean, it's basically, the way I see it is it's a Harlequin romance. You add in some Mormon values.
Yes.
You add in some vampires, I use the term loosely, and you have Twilight.
Yeah. That basically sums it up. And for some people, obviously this works. Not for us.
Because we've read literature.
Yes, real literature. We know what good writing looks like, and this isn't it.
No.
I mean, if you like it, that's fine. Don't, send us death threats, because you're not going to change our minds, and we don't care. And you can't find us. Nah, 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 nah. But basically, no.
No.
If you have a functioning brain cell and an ounce of self-respect, Twilight, just say no.
Please.
There's much better things out there.
Harry Potter.
Absolutely. The Dragon Riders of Pern. I mean, older series, I grant, but still better and much better role models for young girls.
Mm-hmm.
Just Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You want vampire romance?
There. Because that makes sense. Because she knows that it's probably not the best thing to be doing. Mm-hmm. And she's combating her feelings constantly, but it's...
And it occasionally, pardon the pun, bites her in the butt. Or in the neck. Whichever.
Yes.
But...
I don't know, because those characters were well drawn, the ones in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They had depth, they had complexity, and then you look at Edward Cullen, who is a cardboard cutout.
This paper has more depth than he does. Bella's worse.
She is. I mean, you don't even know what she looks like for half the book.
And even when she does go to describe herself, she doesn't really say much, just that she has pale skin and dark hair. That's all she ever says. And I can think of at least 2 opportunities that came up where she could have described herself in a little more depth, and she didn't take it. I mean, honestly, I don't think too much about how I look, but I still occasionally, when I'm looking at myself in the mirror, doing my hair, think about, oh dear, I'm breaking out. My eyes are looking unusually green today. That kind of thing.
I mean, that's not uncommon. I mean, we all take stock of how we look at one point. I just don't understand. It was just like there was nothing there.
Yeah.
Nothing there.
Nothing. But everybody loves her. Why? Why?
I know. There's
she has
just
no
nothing...
likes outside of Edward. It's never discussed what hobby she has. We know she can cook, but it's never that she said that she likes cooking.
Oh, and she's a klutz.
Yes.
Great.
An incredible, unbelievable klutz. I'm a klutz myself, and I saw nothing identifiable with this.
It gets better because in Breaking Dawn, okay, established fact, Bella, as a human, is a klutz.
Yes.
Now, you get into Breaking Dawn when she becomes a vampire, and then suddenly she's the best damn vampire there's ever been. I mean, she's not, wild. She's not uncontrollable. She's very agile. She's faster than Edward. Can anyone say self-insertion or Mary Sue here? Because
Totally.
she's so perfect, even though she's, flat. I mean, she's
normally Mary Sue is only applied to fan fiction, but it does occasionally crop up in original fiction.
It does.
The thing that, in the first book, it's kind of that the sight of blood makes her faint. How is she going to live as a vampire?
I know. Oh, it gets better. I mean, it was an angst fest towards the end because I should say I did not read the fourth book. Mm-hmm. I read a live journal summary of it, which it was accurate. It used quotes from the book to prove its points. She becomes addicted to her father's blood.
What?
Her daughter is imprinted on by Jacob.
I'd heard about that.
Which was a little creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, it just became so... Ew. Oh, and then, of course, when she becomes a vampire, she absolutely hates Jacob's guts, which I don't understand because she seemed pretty comfy with him beforehand.
Yeah. Oh, but now she's a vampire, so he doesn't smell right or something. Oy, oy, oy. So, in other words, the writing gets worse.
Pretty much. It was almost like at the end she just threw in the towel, or she had a dartboard, and it had all of these plot points on it, and she just threw darts at it, and whatever it hit, that was what happened.
And apparently she had no editor to tell her, are you insane? What have you been drinking?
Well, unfortunately, when a book is popular like that...
The editor tends to stand back. I remember hearing that maybe it was just a rumor, but that J.K. Rowling's editor near the end wasn't really touching the books much because the things were so popular, they didn't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
But there are times that the editors need to step forward and say,
No.
Can we talk about this? This plot point is going to make people's brains explode, and not in a good way.
Yeah, it was...
Like I said, I only read the first one because the whole thing, because I didn't want anyone to tell me, oh, well, you just stopped reading it too soon. It got really good after chapter X.
Yeah, so basically what happened was when I was, when it first became big, I, one of my friends was like, oh, do you want to borrow my copy of Twilight? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I mean, it looks kind of interesting. I don't know what it's about. The cover looks kind of cool. So I was like, all right, I'll read it. And I gave it back to her, when I was finished, and I said, this kind of sucks. She goes, oh, read the second one. They get better. I read it. I went, this kind of sucks. And then she gave me the third one. And I got partway through that one. And I said, okay, this one really sucks. I'm not going to read these anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened in the third one. And then when the fourth one came out, I basically just read the summary on LJ because I was curious to see what she'd done at the end. And as it turned out, she sort of had some fun.
Just went right off the rails.
Oh, yes.
But, I can't help but wonder how many people say they like it only because all their friends liked it and they don't want to be left out.
I wonder sometimes. And it's also interesting, there seems to be no middle ground. I mean, you love Twilight and you want to marry Edward, or you hate Twilight and you want to stake Edward. Because I've never met a person who says, I don't really care either way. I guess they're okay. I've never heard anyone say that.
True. Oh, well. Well, that about wraps up our review of Twilight. In case you couldn't figure it out, it sucks, and not in a good vampire way.
No.
But there are other alternatives out there if you look for them.
Read Dracula, people. Come on.
One of the ones that started the whole craze.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. If you have any taste, go somewhere else. Thank you, and bye!